Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Comics de la Morte, episode 116 Finding Redemption in a World Full of Chaos with Corissa Grant. And we haven't had her on the show, but crazy enough, this has been the 1 year anniversary since she's been on. So awesome about that in a way. But again, she has gone through a lot of issues, and I guess I haven't reached out or I just had so many people messaging me. But yeah, she's on issue 8. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
You're too popular for me no more.
And
You're too popular for me now.
oh no. No, what I was gonna say before my camera went off, that not just Lori, but you too have been, I mean, you two have been such a great creator in the community. And I'm not just saying it's a girl thing, but it, out of you two, you are like the most like, putting stuff out there and like focusing on putting stuff out there. Because there's so many people that they say they'll get to something and they delay. But you and Lori, when you set a marker and a time of when you're going to deliver, you do it correctly. And kudos and congrats on that. And it just shows
Thank
people
you.
that you need to support her Kickstarter. That's down in the description because she is focused on getting her work out, not just because she loves the project, but she knows that fans are looking for it.
Yeah, and I will say that I don't know if you can see behind me. These boxes just arrived yesterday. I have to go through them, but it's got issues 8 through 10 in there. So everyone's gonna get their comic book. I'm probably gonna ship out the day after it ends. It ends next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. So I'm probably gonna start packing up probably that day, and then they'll ship out the next day. And as soon as payments go through, I ship them. So and issue 13 start getting drawn next week. So we're a little bit ahead. But that way you know that you're getting your comic. And book 1 and book 2 are complete. Issue 12 was the last one in book 2. So we're already about to draw book 3. There's 5 books in the series, 45 issues. So, well, 45 issues already written in series 1. And then I can end it there and everyone could be happy or whatever. But series 2 is also written, and it's 45 issues already written. And that has a really good ending too, if I want to end it there. However, I just started book 3, book 1 and book 1 in series 3. So it's, yeah. There's at least 100 issues written, including the prequel, which is going to be, right now there's only 1 book, but there's going to be 5. So I haven't gotten to it, but it's all in my head. So I know it's in there.
I
I
was
just
gonna
have to put there.
I was gonna say after you're done with all 5 books, like where are you gonna go from there?
So we have, okay, so there's the prequel, that's 5 books. There's series 1, that's 5. Series 2, that's 5. Series 3 will be 5. Series 4 will be 5. That's the Great War. And then I don't know if there'll be an aftermath after that. So it's either gonna end series 4, which is about 200 issues, or there'll be an aftermath where they, after a war between heaven and hell teaming up against my characters, Hecate, Hades, and Greek gods, and Anubis and Egyptian gods, then the world's probably going to be a little screwed up. So there
Yeah.
might be an apocalyptic afterworld. I have not gotten that far yet. I'm not saying all these will be released. It really depends on how popular it is. I'm just saying I'm going to write them. So
Yeah.
I never intended any of this to be a comic. I never intended it to be anything.
Well, your writing's great, so don't think that it won't.
Thank you. I was just writing it for fun, with my co-writer as a role player. For anyone who doesn't know about the fact that my series, I write my series and all the characters except Draven. Draven's thoughts and speech is my co-writer. So the 2 characters are completely 2 different writers. Gives them that unique personality. My character talks nonstop and barely thinks, and Draven thinks all the time and barely talks. So you can tell it goes to the personality of the writer. But yeah, I just have so many ideas in my head that it's just, I don't know. I always joke that, I don't know if you watch Supernatural, but I always joke that I'm,
Of course.
yeah. So I always joke that I'm Chuck when he was a prophet, and I'm just writing what happens.
As long
That's
as you
how it
don't
feels.
turn out to be like Chuck.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
no, I'm nicer than Chuck is. But well, maybe that's my character, so maybe I am like Chuck, I don't know. But at
Right.
least I let them be together, so that's something. We torture them, we drive them crazy, but yeah, they're never separated for long. We just could never do that to them. So but yeah, there's just so many stories, and it's so funny because I always say that, well, the reason why I always said I was the prophet is because all these things that come out, they line up that I didn't even know they lined up. Like, for example, the original thought process of the series that I had 17 years ago was I had Remnal, Seraphina's father, who's an angel. And I don't know why
Yeah.
him, and I don't know where the thought came from, but he's the angel in scripture that judges the souls on earth and brings them to heaven. And for whatever reason, I thought, how does he carry these souls? And then so I created the angelic weapon so he could store the souls in there and carry them up. And everything kind of spiraled out of control from there. However, so he created Seraphina from the angelic weapon. So Seraphina is the souls of humans, but the powers of her father and the goddess mother. I did not even know yet until after the series was written that Remnal is actually the very first angel that created a Nephilim, which is a half angel, half human. So I
Right.
thought that was funny because, obviously they look a little different than Seraphina. Those are giants and all that fun stuff. But it was just funny that just happens to be the angel that did it, and then he's the one that created Seraphina. We have a rat in the story that is technically in the prequel more, but we're gonna bring him back later. But his name is Apollo because I wanted to have a sun on around his eye. However, I did not know at the time that Apollo is the lord of rodents, because I always thought of him as like the sun god. And then I did not know, because I didn't even know Seraphina's mother's name until the series 1 was done. And she just happens to be the one we chose after we chose her because of the power she has and everything like that, and it fit perfectly. She was actually friends with Apollo, so it worked out really well that the Apollo sent her the rat as a guardian and all this stuff. So there was a lot of things that also Seraphina's Draven's demon father, we didn't have a name for him. And we found Asma, who is the demon of chaos. So he feeds on chaos, but there's more to it. He used to feed on souls from the Bridge of Judgment. It has nothing to do with Remnal. These are two different mythologies. But that's how my story started, that he would steal the souls from Asma. But the funny thing is, Remnal's power is lightning, and Asma's has an immunity to all forms of lightning. So it just kind of like everything just kind of fit together. And it was so not intentional, and it just worked out so amazingly well. So I don't know, maybe I am writing a prophet. You never know. Our angel Kemiel is the archangel of true love and conflict resolution, because I guess you can't have one without the other. And so that's why he was chosen for it. So I did a lot of research on it, because one of the things that always slightly bothered me about Supernatural, sometimes they'll just pull a name out and use it for the demon or angel, and it just has had nothing to do with their powers or anything.
Yeah.
So I was sure to make sure that ours had at least some kind of mythology or actual job or whatever. But yeah, a lot of research.
I mean, but it plans out so well.
It
Huh,
does. The story just, you know,
I hear
it's
echo.
very fast paced, but so far only one person complained. It was one of the podcasters that I did, and I sent him the story and he read it all like an hour before. Um and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't like it. It's too fast paced for me." I was like, "Okay. Well, I could have told you it was too fast paced, but okay."
Oh, well, the thing is, we're never going to please everyone. We got to get that
Yeah.
out of the head. Even the greatest people who have worked in Marvel and other things, they've never pleased everyone.
Yeah.
And we have to
Yeah.
realize that first, most we're writing these because we love these stories and we want to tell these stories, but then later on, we're going to have people who's going to love them too. And
Yeah.
I just like your stuff so much because you're not just including heaven and hell, but you said you have other gods like Anubis and stuff like that.
Yes.
And that's what I'm so drawn to this, not just because I have supernatural, the name main character in my book is the Nephilim, but you're doing something that people need to read because it's something fresh and entertaining.
Hmm.
And I'm just tired of superhero stuff, you know? That's
Yeah.
that's why I was
Yeah.
a that's why I was I'm just now getting into the TV show, but I'm like, I wanted to know what the show was like, and I'm upset that it didn't last for long. American Gods. Just I
Yeah.
really like how that show turned out with like all like you got the old like Odin and the goddess of Easter versus like the new gods and technology, but it's just so great because you could do so much off of these mythology creatures, like how you were saying you did research. And that's what's even better is that you're not just coming off of the top of your hat, you're coming up with you're adding more onto these characters that have like thousands, hundreds of years of stories being taught from these different people that actually worship these things in the past. And as a kid, as an artist, when I used to go to a book fair, the first thing I got at the mobile book fair was how to draw Greek gods, how to draw Roman gods, you know? So yeah, I at least I could say your book drawed me in just because of the whole concept. And
Nice.
not
Well,
just the whole
yeah.
not the whole concept of like, oh, it's just a typical god versus the devil. No, you have like Egyptian gods and you're showing that there's more than one deity in this book. And that's why I wanted to just have this topic, finding redemption in a world full of chaos. Because like you were saying, you're gonna have a political thing going on, but it's like at the end, you have these two lovers that the world just does not want to have together, and when they do come together, shit happens because that's pretty much what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. And Bassett, I don't know if you know the goddess, the cat goddess, is going to
Mhm.
be in issue 13 for a little bit. I can't wait to see her drawn out because and I'm definitely getting a plushie of her, of course. Um,
Yeah,
and you know, I can't wait to the Great War is like so far ahead, but I you're going to see little snippets of the people like in issue 13 you're going to see how Anubis was kind of drawn in and captured to do what he's doing, and so you get to see Hecate talking to Hades
yeah,
and stuff like that. And series 2, nope, series 3 has Circe in it, which is actually Hecate's daughter. We have underworld cities, we have a lot. um so yeah, there's so much. It's so like there's so much in my head that I have to like just sit down and write it all. And I do, but then I get distracted. Like I've been doing scripts, like I think I just converted issue 24. So I get so into it and I was like, oh, I should write something. And right now my writing, let's see, I'm in book 2 of series 3, and they just got thrown into the ocean by Circe, and they're in the underworld city. So now I'm going to write about the underworld city, and they're going to go to an island with Cholulu and all sorts of different stuff. And I love the underwater sea creatures that are going to be there, and I get to
nice.
draw, you know, get to see the seahorses, like real seahorses. So yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a lot I can't wait to write out. So that's
I
my
mean,
goal for tomorrow.
again, the whole underworld thing, like, great idea, and I don't know if you're gonna have a ferryman there, but I mean, it's just so much to work off of. But that's what's beautiful is that you could take something that's, again, been around for thousands of years, but make your own twist to it
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, it's
you
fun
know
using their
yeah,
powers, like, you're con I don't wanna say constraint, it's more like you're powered by their powers, but you get to give them their own personality. Like, there
yeah,
is a
you're
ferryman.
breathing life into them.
Yeah, there's a ferryman, there's Cerberus, there's all that's stuff, and just, between me and you, that's actually so they do wind up in series 2 getting kicked out of heaven and all this stuff, and they actually Hecate says that if they help her against, everything, they actually can live in, her underworld.
Yeah,
So and then you have several different underworlds, and they're all connected. Like, Hecate contacts Anubis when the veil is broken, which is what happens actually in issue 1, how the town merges with hell, and it actually affects both Anubis and Hades because that's their underworld. So they're just like, this
yeah.
veil has been completely demolished, and Anubis goes and checks it out. But it's so funny because I love Anubis so much, but I cannot give him thoughts or speech. So he just growls.
Mhm.
So he's kind of like Groot because he doesn't say anything. And I can't give him, for some whatever reason, I don't feel like I have the ability to give him thought or speech. So what we did for him when he explained something like a past or something,
Yeah.
his thought bubbles are pictures. So you're gonna see the scenes that he's explaining without him actually explaining. And I don't know why. I just don't feel like I could give his voice justice. So he's just kind of gonna growl at things, which I actually wound up loving.
Wish you got a
But
plushie by you.
oh, I always have plushies. But this is did you see my new one, the Anubis?
No, no, I didn't. That looks
So this
amazing.
so this is our first commercially released one, and I bought 100 of them.
How much did
Which is
that cost to make?
well, it cost me 100 just to get the prototype.
Oh, really?
So this is the prototype, and I just ordered the 100 of them. So they're supposed to ship this week, and now I'm waiting for them. But I did not like the foam, and I shouldn't say this because people are buying it. The foam staff is nice. It's okay. It looks good. I don't like it as much as this thing because the foam staff one doesn't come off. So I had these 3D ones made, and he could take it off, and I just love the way they look. So this is
Yeah,
my
I was
favorite.
gonna say
So
it stands out.
yeah. So there's two options, and some people have bought both, which I did not see coming. But you can get the foam one, and the reason why I got these is because as much as I'll always have the handmade ones because they're like
Mhm.
collectibles, but they're not. I mean, they sell really well, but they're really expensive because they cost me a fortune to make. So I wanted something a little more affordable. So these, the foam one is 29, and the one with the staff is 39 because I needed to make the staff. But I really love it because look, he's all embroidered, his little face is embroidered, and his teeth. And I let me just tell you. So when I sent this design to them, I was like, I even said to my courier writer, "There's no way in hell they're gonna get this right. Like, there's no way." And they first try got it. I was like, "You've got to be freaking kidding me! I mean, this looks freaking amazing."
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love them. I can't wait till they arrive. I have a book signing coming up in a metaphysical store, and I'm waiting for these damn plushies to show up. But they're gonna carry my books, and they said Anubis is big there, so they're excited to have my book and my plushies and
Mhm,
all my merch, my tons and tons of merch.
mhm,
But I do have new plushies this time. I'm gonna probably, I won't say try, I'm probably gonna have new plushies for every book, just like I have a new song,
mhm.
by the way. So I have a new song for every book. This one is a zombie song, which Lori keeps singing. It's "Go Zombie Zombie," so she loves that freaking line. Um, so for our new ones for this one, besides Anubis, which is in pre-order, I wasn't going to do the pre-order because you know me, I like to have it in hand, but everyone wanted to order one, so there's a pre-order. We
Yeah,
also have our giant salamander from issue 8. It's
nice.
an homage to the Lickers, if anyone knows Resident Evil 2. Um,
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
yes, he looks like the Lickers, and that's because the Lickers used to scare the hell out of me. Like, I'd just be moving along, and you just like get attacked from behind. So these are the homage to the liquors. I love the salamanders. Another one that's new is they're trapped in a haunted asylum, so they're trapped with ghosts and they're trapped with the salamanders, but they're also trapped with the ghosts that are possessing the dead bodies. So they're zombies and it's straitjackets. So not only are they these cool zombies and straitjackets, the straitjackets can come off. All the little clamps work and everything. And you can get any number you want embroidered on the back, like your birthday or the birthday of somebody that drives you crazy. And this can be your homage to them. But I'm just going to point out that my mother, who hates horror, thought it was adorable and bought one. That's why there's only one available, because I can't tell about the other one. But you can order and pre-order it and get any number you want on the back. And they have these cool little strangly hairs, which you can thank my artist for, because he gave the zombies all these strangly hairs. We do have 3 forms of zombies in our story. We have the book 1 has a few of them, not too many, but has the ones from hell, because the town's merging with hell. So you have these zombies that come up. These are dead bodies possessed by ghosts. So you kind of have to completely disable them, like cut off their heads, cut off their arms, whatever you got to do. And then, of course, book 3, for anyone that doesn't know, my obsession with Resident Evil 3 is going to be the virus zombies, which are my favorite, because all of this started from the damn Resident Evil 2 game. So that is why I'm here, people. Resident Evil 2 destroyed it. That's there. You can blame them. But you could tell, because book 1 was 7 issues. Originally, book 2 was 7 issues, but I deleted one and merged the other one with issue 5. So issue 5 is 40 pages. I mean, issue 12, which is the 5th issue and chapter in book 2. So now book 2 is only 5, but book 3 is 10. It is 10 freaking issues. So far, book 4 looks like it's going to be 8, and God help us all, 5 is 12 at least. So, but 12 has a lot going on. I mean, they go to hell, they go in a nightmare realm, they fight a rake, they join up with Anubis. Anubis becomes their main character. And I wish I could have him join sooner, but I mean, the guy's a freaking god. He's going to destroy whatever, So,
yeah.
But I did just write him in book 4. Is it book 4? Yeah, book 4, destroying a helicopter, so to get to Seraphina. So that was fun. So, but yeah, I love writing about him and him going on the island, destroying these missile things, and yeah, you can never have too much into this.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very true.
Yeah.
So, what, again, like, you're talking so much about, like, the chaos that's going on. Like, how do you, as your writer, just not in general for your stuff, but like, how is it that you find a way to bring in that redemption where the heroes are going to find a way to win, even though the chaos part and the destruction part is so much fun to write and draw? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the great thing about, like, this type of comic series is like, how dark can I make this? But at the end, how can the good guys survive out of this?
Well, you know what? Everything that they go through, it's because of their complete and utter desire to keep the other one alive. Like, they both want to die for the other one or kill for the other one, and it just pisses off the other one because they want to protect the other one. And so you have this struggle that they have where he's trying to protect her, but she's trying to protect him. She'll do anything for him and vice versa. So yeah, we torture them and we put them through all this stuff, but man, they're resilient when they come to taking care of the other one. And it's what drives them, and it's not merely death that drives them, because if they die, as soon as they find out they're soulmates and they remember that they've been through lives, if they die, they just find each other in the next life. However, now there's these angel weapons that are out, thanks to who you'll meet in issue 12, that completely destroy souls. So if it hits her or kills her, the soul is gone, and Draven will just go completely dark because he will never find her again. So the stakes are higher, than just dying. Just dying is not. It's just like they say, death is just the beginning. It's not the end for them. But losing your existence and your soul, that's the end. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yep. That's some of the stakes are a little bit higher there because even somebody was kind of rude on a podcast. One of the podcasters, she's like, if they could just die and meet each other, what's the point? Like why keep fighting? And I was like, have you read it? Like I like you obviously haven't read it.
Not just that, but I mean, like take away from the book. Did you ever watch the Hercules and Xena TV show growing up? Their frickin' sidekicks always died and find a way to bring them back from hell every single time.
Well, Supernatural's famous for dying and coming back.
Oh yeah, I know. Dean and Sam. There were many times
all
that
the
they should
time.
have.
Yeah, it's kind of like their motif now. My
Right?
characters don't die as much as Supernatural. She dies, I think, a total of 3, and he dies a total of 2. So and some of them it doesn't work out as well as others, but yeah, it's not like Supernatural because you kind of, as much as I love Supernatural, it kind of and I never got bored or tired of it. And they're working on season 16. I'm all for it. I don't care. But yeah, it kind of takes away the urgency when they die constantly.
Well,
And
yeah.
oh, but you still find yourself worried, or curious how they're going to bring them back this time.
Exactly.
And I'm all for that. So my characters definitely don't have it as harsh as Sam and Dean. But I love it all. I'm biased, but I mean, book 3, I just love because I love the whole Resident Evil. It could be a video game. If I was to do a video game, it would probably be book 3. Like it would just be like you're in a zombie infested city with 2 other survivors, and yeah.
So you said 2 is your favorite or 3?
Book 3 is my favorite.
No, out of Resident Evil.
Oh, 2. Yeah. No, 2. It all started with 2. I didn't even own a PlayStation yet.
Well, I'm gonna do this. I am busy next week, but let me know when you have an opening in February. And besides promoting your book, we'll talk a whole episode about Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you how that all started.
So I will. So yeah, we'll do that the next time I have you on.
I will tell you.
I'll try to get you on in February.
Yeah, sure. My birthday's in February. But I will tell you that it's all because of the crocodile, the alligator. I call it the alligator. If you Google it, they say both alligator or crocodile. I think it's officially a crocodile, but I'm not sure. So alligators have been like, I don't want to say my spirit animal because they're kind of a harsh spirit animal. But like I had dreams about them my entire life from the age of, I shouldn't say my entire life, from the age of 5 to 22. And I kept dreaming of them being in, it started as like just an alligator in a puddle, like this like little puddle.
Yeah.
And it grew, the older I got, it grew where the entire world inside the dream went from this swamp to getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time I was 22, all the houses in the dream were connected with bridges, and it was just swamps underneath, which now makes me think I need to add this to the story at some point. So all the alligators are just swimming underneath.
I was going to say that's some crazy Stephen King shit right there.
Yeah, and yeah. So whatever it was about this, it stopped when I moved out, and I didn't realize it stopped until like a year in, where I was like, "Huh, I haven't had a dream about alligator in like the longest time." Happy Friday. So I don't know what that was all about. However,
Hey,
I
Gary.
did research. Hi, Gary. I did research it once, and it said, I don't know if this is true. It said a couple of things. One of the things said that if you dream about an alligator constantly, it means you want to be self-sufficient away from your parents, which would crack me up because it was the age of 5. So I don't know if that's true or not. The other one said
wow.
that being an alligator, that the fact that the alligator's body is mostly underwater, it's supposed to be your hidden potential. because it's all hidden and you don't see it yet. But it changed when I moved out, not when I wrote the series. So I don't know. But if it not for an alligator in Resident Evil 2, I wouldn't have bought it. It was the alligator scene on a commercial that made me buy it. Like literally buy PlayStation and go out and buy it or rent it. Actually, I rented the game. So I have an alligator at least once in every book.
Back in the
So
Blockbuster days.
yeah. Where is that where I rent? You're right. I actually think I did rent it from Blockbuster. And the damn thing didn't have any instructions, and I could not figure out how to make Leon walk. And he kept walking into the fire, and I threw the game, and I
Right?
was like, screw this. And then my brother came in and started playing. I was like, get out, I can do this. So yeah, I was obsessed with the game, and
Yeah.
now here I am. So before I met my co-writer, my only book that I had written was book 3. That was it. I had book 3 written. It was a solo book. I just from start to finish. And then when I met my co-writer, we were supposed to start in that, but instead I started in a Silent Hill type town instead. So for some reason, I didn't start with her with the Resident Evil book. I don't know why, but I'm glad I did because it obviously it went a little out of control, and it worked out really well. So, but yeah, the only book that I had before I met my co-writer was book 3, and now I have 13 books total. So the other 12 came after I met her. So in 3 years we wrote.
Now
In 3 years we wrote 13 books.
that's awesome. Congrats. See, again, dedication, people. Dedication.
Dedication, obsession, whatever. Yeah. Tomato.
Hey, it's the same, you know.
We'll go with that.
But what but you wrote so much, and with all these books, it's like one thing, like, I know how to go about doing it, but, like, for anybody in the audience or anybody out there watching this after this episode's over, how do you as a writer sit down and like, okay, I want this world to be full of monsters, but I don't want each issue to be like basically overfilled or saturated with monsters. Like you were saying, okay, they went to this place and these people were being possessed by ghosts that were like zombies. Like, how do you find time to let those like those monsters shine in that issue and not focus on having all these other monsters that are just like overpopulating the world?
So you give me way too credit. I don't think they're far ahead. But what's going on is that it's kind of it's such a linear story that they're kind of like in this line that they're going through that was not on purpose. And we didn't write it that way. When I wrote them, I kind of jumped to it. If I got an idea, I wrote to it and then I connected them. But the reason why they're separated in the books that they're separated in is because of the environment and the monsters that they're facing. Like, book 1 was Silent Hill Town. They're going through with the ghosts and the zombies and the hellhounds, and then they go into book 2, and book 2 is the zombie ghosts and the salamanders and the ghosts. And then you go to book 3, and it's all zombies or zombie experiment, creatures or whatever. And then you go to book 4 and 5, which is just a chaotic island of monsters and stuff. Though there is a really cool thing that they do. They go through cages of environments, and then the monsters are in each environment. So when they're on the island, they're in the laboratory. Kind of like Code Veronica, if you ever played Code Veronica, which a lot of people have not played Code Veronica. Probably because Steve was so annoying. But they're in this experimental
Yes.
laboratory.
I have I'm married to a woman that's obsessed with Resident Evil. So yeah.
Oh, I like her already. Yeah, so you're
So
in
I
this
know all about
island.
that.
They're in this island of experiments, and when they're trapped in this, and it's not abandoned in it, it's fully functional, which is why that they go through these environments. And the first one is like this, the Amazon, where there's the alligators, the crocodiles, and I think she makes a joke, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Here's an exclusive for you. So she has to swim through the water and I did not want the alligators to be able to see her, but all alligators except one have great eyesight. They're the black Canaan. They don't have very good eyesight underwater. So I had to make her say something like, I don't, they're in the wrong environment, but I guess he doesn't care where they go or something. So, and somebody is like, one of the characters is like, how do you know that? And she goes, well, they can steal,
Gotcha.
they can steal stuff like that in books. So, but I needed to have these, them have bad eyesight. So, I had to do my research and be like, wait, do alligators really have bad eyesight? Um, and so I did that. But yeah, then we have the skeleton birds back in that one. We have, mountain ones with just crazy mountain lion venomous things. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of write it as it goes. And the monsters have their like so sometimes the monsters aren't in it long enough. And like my colorist got upset because the alligator monster is not in there long enough until he's, and he's like, oh, he's gone. I was like, well, I'll put another one on the island for you. But yeah, I try to give the creatures their time, but then my characters move on, and they may or may not come back. Like everyone loves the skeleton birds, so they're going to be on the island. I love the skeleton birds, and they always sell out too. I don't know if they sell out this time, but everyone always loves the skeleton plushies for whatever
Nice.
reason. He's actually one of my favorites too. Um, but yeah. Oh, and then I'll give you an exclusive. Well, I had him on another one, but he's not on the Kickstarter yet. So I introduced a new character that actually isn't in the book. So I just had to have it, and it was purely because I wanted the plushie of him. That is literally why I added him, and now I'm in love with him. So I came up with the chameleon vampire bats. It's a chameleon, but it's a vampire bat that looks like a chameleon, so it can like hide against the cavern walls. You can't see them because they merge in with things.
Mhm.
So this is Chatty, which is chameleon and batty put together. Plus,
Awesome.
he never shuts up. So like the wings have like wires in them and everything, but he's not going to be there until you know issue 10. So I'm not selling him until issue 10. But he's so cute, and if people pre-order, oh, he kind of got away. Hold on, they could pick whatever 2 colors they want too. So. That one's my co-writers.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very cool. I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
But of course, this book isn't probably for young kids, so
No.
but
And I
it's
get
like
asked
people,
at every con.
pe- yeah. I was gonna, yeah.
Well, I was
Well,
gonna
I
say I
mean,
get
it's,
asked at
I mean, for
cons if
even
it's for
adults, it's
kids.
like, oh, I'm gonna read a horror comic and have the plushie right there.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? They sell. I don't know
Oh
what to tell
yeah,
you.
I
I
bet.
I, I buy them because I wanted them, but when they sold, I was like, oh, now I gotta buy more. So, and for anyone that gets concerned, the ones I'm hugging are mine, so I do not hug your
Yeah,
plushies.
I mean, why not?
Um, yeah, they're not pre-hugged. That costs more to get your plushie pre-hugged. But I get asked a lot at cons. They're like, "Well, what's this rated?" And I'm like, they curse a lot and there's gore. Well, is there any sex? And I go, no. She goes, okay, my kids can read it. I was like, okay, well, all right. I was like, I watched the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when I
Which
was
I'm like,
6. So
what?
yeah, my
Yeah.
first movie when I was 6 was
But we
Nightmare
both
on Elm
know.
Street 3.
Oh, you know what? That's you know what. Beside, you know what? I'll have you on for two different other times. I really want to talk about episode. I really want to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream
Yeah.
Warriors, because I
Yeah.
remember a year ago from today, we both agreed that our first horror movie we ever watched was that movie.
Yep. Yep. That's what
So yeah,
started the horror,
I think
man.
I'm gonna do that too. So after the show, after the show, I'm gonna sit down with you and find a time when you're not doing a Kickstarter and get you on so we could talk a whole hour about Dream Warriors because it is that good of
All
a
right.
movie.
Damn straight it is. And it's got the best improvised line ever.
Yes, it is.
Welcome to prime time. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, best movie. I love that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with your comic and everything, what I like is like you were saying, like it and it almost has like Resident Evil vibes. It's like, if you go to a different part of the world, you're gonna even in the real world. if you live in the Midwest, you're not going to see animals that you would see that would live in like Florida because it's not that type of environment. So it makes sense that you're going to write alligators or whatever that might be in this type of like living environment because the fact is you wouldn't see it anywhere else outside of a sewer or whatnot.
Right.
And
Yeah.
also too, I don't know if you had this plan, but I like how your story with like, okay, you go here, that's gonna have trouble. You go here, that's trouble. It's almost like you're setting up where each book represents like almost like the levels of hell,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. They each one
So,
gets
and
worse.
that's what I like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And it should, because I mean, that I like that concept, 'cause the farther you get in hell, it should be a lot more terrifying. Shouldn't be like this
Yeah.
exact same damn thing, you know?
Yeah. Wait till they actually go to hell, man.
But yeah, it's awesome stuff,
Oh, I'm glad you
right?
like it. Yeah.
No problem. I mean, like I said, outs you and I've had other creators on here, but I've watched like, even though I haven't been able to get you on because just other people have been messaging me, but you and Lori, again, I watch interviews or I see you guys on different shows, and you guys are always there busting your butt to get your work out. And as anybody who's trying to follow a Kickstarter, that's important because people want to know that they could trust on you to deliver the goods. Because the last thing any creator needs to do is get a Kickstarter funded, and then you don't deliver, and that's just going to piss people off and not want to buy your future stuff.
That was
And
one
if
thing
people
I
don't
decided before I started
Mhm.
to always like
Yeah,
my number one thing
and that's
was to build trust.
yeah, and that's and trust is important because if I'm not mistaken, you're the exact same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had this discussion. I remember you telling me when you first started doing this comic, the you got screwed over in the beginning.
Yep,
Wasn't that
lost
you?
5 grand.
I
Yep.
think. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yep, you
Lost
remembered.
5 grand.
Yep.
And anybody out there, yeah. And the thing is, she lost 5 grand doing the first series of this. And even though she lost that 5 grand, she was dedicated enough to have it redone to get into people's hands because she believes in that project so much. And that's why you all need to spend whatever you do on her comic because you're like, oh, I ain't got the money. If you go to fast food and you're spending $15 on a Big Mac meal, you could fucking buy her book. You know,
Yep,
it's
and I also
yes.
have
This show is
the hardcover.
this show is adult show. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I could cuss on this show.
I got yelled at for making the hardcover only 39 because they were like, it should be 55. It's 222 pages of story, it's 7 issues. And I said, you know what? I want people to be able to afford it to read it. The whole point is for people to read the story. Um,
Yeah.
and fortunately this time a lot of people have been buying the hardcover. A few have also bought the singles, the catch-up tier. But this is incredibly popular. I mean, it's got everyone loves the back cover, of course. But it's very popular. It's
Oh yeah, the back
$39.
cover's amazing.
Oh, everyone, this is my most popular. Even when he wrote it, this is Ken Hunt's, Marvel. I mean, he worked at DC with Superman, Harley Quinn, all that. Colored by CC Dela Cruz from Lady Death universe. And I will say, to date, this is still the most likes he ever got, and I ever got was this cover. And I bought the original art and I gave it to my co-writer. And she has it on her wall, and it's just the second she saw it, she fell in love with it, and that was my gift for her. Was just,
Yeah.
what you have. I have all the other original art. I have the front cover and all Fabio stuff, and
But that's
but yeah,
important.
and
I mean, no
yeah,
matter
and
how great the story is, if your cover art isn't like great looking, they're not gonna pick it up.
yeah. You know that whole don't judge a book by cover, but that's exactly what everyone does. They always judge a book by cover, and I will tell you that there's only 10 left.
Exactly.
But our cover for this one which is Jeremy Rampak, is the interior artist for Resident Evil comic book, which is why I hired him. He worked at Marvel, DC, Capcom, Blizzard, IDW. He's the interior artist for Injustice, which means nothing to me whatsoever. However, my brother is thrilled about this because he reads it. But I got him because of Resident Evil. And then issue 9, I had to get the artist Carl Moline, which is the interior artist for Buffy in the comic book. So I had to get that. I have Kevin Sharp, which is Army of Darkness interior artist for the comic book. I'm still trying to find a Supernatural. I found one, and he says he's too busy. And I said, I have 100 issues. Just put me on some kind of list. I need a Supernatural artist to do a cover. But he has not agreed yet. So I'm very upset about that. And then I need a Silent Hill one. Yeah, and I'd love to have the Crow too, but I wrote to him and I wrote to his agent, and they have not gotten back to me. And I'm so mad that I didn't bring it up when I met him in person to get his autograph. And now I'm like fuming about it. I was like, I could have at least seen if he would ever do. I don't even care if it's a sketch, just do a cover for me. But it is what it is.
Gotcha. So out of like your books so far, like, do you have, of course, you're the writer and everything, the co-writer, but is there issue or a book number that you really love? Like some people's like, oh, I love all of them, but us creators, we have a special issue or special story that we like more than the others, just for whatever it is. It's like where the big monsters come in, or it's the big story arc that you were waiting to the reader to like get shock value out of.
I think I have to say so I love the ending of book 2. It's but book 3 is my favorite. All of it. The first issue is good because of I can't say what happens, but the first one's good. But 14 through 22, those are my favorite issues. If I had to pick one, which in those, man, that's a hard one. They're all so good in book 3. I'm trying to think of which monsters in which book and which one I want the best. I'm gonna have to go. Oh, I love that fight. I'm gonna go with the last issue of book 3, which would be issue 22. There's just an awesome fight scene. You get to see a little bit of Seraphina's magic that hasn't been out yet. You get to see happy moments followed by devastating moments followed by happy moment. Like, it's just a roller coaster of emotions for these poor characters. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the last issue in book 3, which is issue 22. I got a while to go. It's so hard not to ask him to skip and just draw this one out.
Oh, I know, right? It's again, you have awesome parts that you want to get to, but no, you have to like write all this stuff to get to that point. And it's like, man, I just want to get to the best parts. But
it's so harsh
sometimes
because
you can't. Sometimes you got to have like the dull points.
Oh, there's no dull points. There's just more exciting.
It's like with Supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always something exciting.
Well, yeah. It's like with Supernatural. It's like Supernatural had a lot of great off stories in their show, but I'm like, get to the main story arc. I want to see what happens here.
I will say that issue 1 of series 2, that would be my second favorite because I can't explain any of it because it's like the biggest plot thing, spoiler ever, but there's so much that happens in it that it was a weird thing that I did when I wrote it. So I had the dream of, it wasn't a dream that I had per se, but I would think about this story before I went to bed, and I wanted to incorporate it so badly into the story, but at that point in time, it didn't make sense. So I wrote it anyway and saved it until it fit in the story. And it fits so well as the first one in series 2 that I was so excited that I had it. So that would be my second. A close second is issue 1 or issue 46 if you want to go in order.
Very cool. Well, we're at the 50 mark. I knew we were going to be able to talk about quite a bit of stuff for an hour. I
Yeah.
mean, is there anything you want to talk more about your Kickstarter or anything else you got going on that you want to talk to people about?
Um Not, I mean, mostly it's, it's the Kickstarter's got another 5 days left. And the easiest way to find it is to search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter. There are 2 things you'll find 9, but there's a live one that's happening now. Make sure to check out all of the add-ons. There's 30 tiers, so take your time. It's like shopping at a store. There's 30 tiers and there's add-ons, probably another 30 add-ons. But there's also a pre-launch for issue 9, which I don't tell anybody about, but somehow it got 36 followers already without me telling anyone. So it is there. And the only reason why I'm saying it is if you search Worthy Chaos, you're going to see it pop up. So yeah, you could find we're always there live or in pre-launch. We have a Kickstarter every other month. So the next one is March 4th. That'll be issue 9. And you can find me on Facebook, Corissa Grant. I talk to anyone all the time. I talk to too many people. So you can find me on there. I'm on Twitter, but Twitter's just not working out. Is algorithm screwed up or whatever? 5.3 thousand followers, and I don't know. So I stick with my 5,000 followers on Facebook. So yeah, find me on Facebook. Find me on Kickstarter. We're the only thing that pops up with Worthy Chaos. So yeah.
Yeah, I have her links information down below. Like I have the Kickstarter, her website, all that fun stuff. Again, sure, the Kickstarter is going on for only so many days left. Show the love, show the support. And before I close out, I like to thank Gary Hodges. I know his name is different, but thank you, Gary Hodges, for being my first patron on Patreon.
Oh,
And
congrats.
yeah, that's going to be the end of the show. Yes, that's gonna be the end of
Yeah.
the show. Thank you, Gary, for watching. Anybody in the aftermath that's gonna be watching, thank you, and thank you for coming on, and again, after the show, Imma sit down, and we're gonna have 2 episodes lined up with you talking about Elm Street and the other Resident Evil 2.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Alright. Well, everyone have a good night. Peace.
Cheers.